welcome to news now. At least 4 persons were killed after a twin explosion occurred at the University of Maiduguri, capital of Borno State, northeast Nigeria. According to the police spokesperson in the state, Victor Isuku, at least 15 other persons were injured in the blast. The 4 dead persons include a professor in the university and the 2 suicide bombers. Now, Monday's explosion in the university is the first major attack on the university campus by suspected Boko Haram members, whose insurgency have caused about 20,000 deaths since 2009. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has already condemned the attack and condoled with the victims of the incident. The university has also suspended the ongoing first semester examinations for 1 day. The Nigerian Army says it has released 257 suspected Boko Haram members after they were cleared of any links with the sect. The suspects were handed over to the Borno State Deputy Governor Usman Maman Dakwa by the theater commander of Operation Lafia Dole, Major General Lucky Irabo, as part of the 2017 Army Remembrance Day celebrations. The Deputy Governor, in his remarks, called on the freed suspect to regard their release as an opportunity to stay away from insurgency. He also used the occasion to commend the effort of security agencies for their gallant effort in containing the current security challenges facing the region. The Deputy Governor assured the Army of the government's support. Nigeria on Sunday remembered its fallen heroes as the country celebrated the 2017 Armed Forces Remembrance Day. The Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration is an annual event to honor members of the Nigerian Armed Forces who fought in the First and Second World Wars and the Nigerian Civil War, as well as those who served or are still serving in various peace support operations worldwide. Now, the day is to celebrate both the dead and the living heroes, including all those who suffered various deprivations as a result of wars. It is usually celebrated on the 15th of January every year. On Sunday, Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari and Minister of Defense Mansour Dan Ali joined all the country's military officials to remember the men who have sacrificed their lives for the country.
Like we always said, in the ministry, we always be ensured that they are promptly paid, and if you can remember during the luncheon this year, we launched an ID card that they can easily collect their allowances without any hitch. We also have improved all the Legion services. We have improved their salaries, their welfare have also been taken care of.
Yes, I will just use this opportunity to commend all our troops in all the various operations, both within Nigeria and outside. They have been doing incredibly well, and we appreciate their contribution to peace, both within and outside, and we'll enjoin them to continue to do more, to be more professional, to be more diligent, and to also be more hardworking in all their duty posts. There are already existing plans as well, and there are different welfare schemes in various services. All we need to do is to continue to implement them and ensure that those who are the beneficiaries actually get their dues.
We know that this day is celebrated every year. What we are looking forward to is the improvement that will follow, in terms of being able to help the widows, dependents of the fallen heroes, not just the ceremonial part of it. And that is what our appeal to government, to see how they can assist the Nigerian region so that we will be able to meet up with our constitutional responsibility of taking care of the dependents of the fallen heroes.
The Bring Back Our Girls group and Nigerian government delegations are in the northeast of Nigeria to witness efforts by the military to rescue the remaining abducted Chibok girls. The BBOG delegation led by Obi Ezekwesili and the government delegation arrived Yola, Adamawa State on Monday afternoon. The government delegation includes the Minister of Defense Mansour Dan Ali, the Chief of Air Staff Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, and the Minister of Information I should say, Lai Mohammed. On arrival at the Air Force Base in Yola, the Nigerian Air Force briefed on their operation so far. The commanding officer, Air Vice Marshal Nuruddin Balogun, informed members of the Bring Back Our Girls group that efforts were on to find the remaining abducted Chibok girls and other persons who were abducted by the Boko Haram insurgents. He added that the latest release of abducted persons were secured between January 7th and 12th and that they have been handed over to troops in Maiduguri. Nigeria's Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tuku Buratai, says the service will continue on the path of high-level discipline which has sustained the tempo in the fight against insurgency in the country. The Chief of Army Staff was speaking on the occasion of the commissioning of the Remodeled Guards Brigade Cemetery in Abuja, the nation's capital city. He says the cemetery plays a rather critical role in the life of a military officer and in regimentation.
The cemetery plays a very important role in military life, in our regimentation. From the time a soldier enters the army, either an officer is commissioned or a soldier is enlisted, we have all the procedures. And, being a profession that has a lot of risk, such a befitting burial will always be required to serve as a resting place for our fallen heroes. Definitely, we have a number of drills, traditions, and procedures when it comes to burial, and we must keep this tradition, and it's an aspect of regimentation. So this commission today is quite significant, and it coincides with the Armed Forces and Remembrance Day celebration. And it's timely, as I said. You can see the aesthetics, the improvement that has been made. This is what we want to see, that our troops, our fallen heroes, are given a deserved burial, a deserved resting place at all times.
The abductors of 3 students and 5 members of staff of the Nigeria Tulip International College have demanded 1.2 billion naira ransom for the victims to be released. The school, which was formerly known as the Nigerian Turkish International College, located at Isheri on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, has been closed by the school management for 1 week. Police authorities confirmed that the gunmen invaded the school at about 9:30 p.m. on Friday, dug their way in through the fence and took the victims away in a white Toyota Hilux vehicle. Human rights body Amnesty International has called on the Nigerian government to release the leader of the Islamic Movement of Nigeria, Ibrahim El-Zakzaky, from detention in accordance with a High Court order. The IMNN leader, alongside his wife Zanna Ibrahim, have been in detention for about a year despite a court order demanding their release. The Abuja Federal High Court in December 2016 gave the Nigerian government an ultimatum of 45 days now to ensure the release of the sect leader. Amnesty International in a statement says the 45-day given by the court actually expired on Monday, January the 16th, and has demanded that Zakzaky be released from prison. A Lagos High Court has fixed January the 18th for the sentencing of 2 persons convicted on charges bordering on fuel subsidy fraud. The individuals, Adoha Ugo Nnadi and Walter Wagbasoma, were charged alongside their company Ontario Oil and Gas. The accused persons were alleged to have obtained the sum of 340 million naira by false pretense from the federal government, purporting the money to be subsidy payable to Ontario Oil and Gas Nigeria Limited. Now, the minimum sentence for the crime is 7 years, while the maximum is 20 years. The Nigerian government has listed 14 witnesses to testify against the Federal High Court Judge Adeniyi Ademola and his wife Olubowale Ademola. Justice Ademola, who is one of the 7 judges who were arrested by the Department of State Services in October 2016, is facing a 15-count charge of bribery and racketeering of the sum of 552 million naira. At the resumption of the trial on Monday, the prosecutor, Segun Jegede, said the 14 witnesses will include the Secretary of the National Judicial Council and the Chief Registrar of the Federal High Court.
It's not something extraordinary. The court was to accept or reject the statement, a former written statement by the witness. We opposed that since the witness had already said everything in court, there was no basis for acceptance of a document that represents the same thing. So the court wants to give it a considered writing and let us know tomorrow.
Joining the matter till tomorrow because that was the right thing that I should have done. We are waiting for the ruling tomorrow, and that's the usual course that is taken in a trial of this nature. After an objection is made by either party, there is a response from the other party, and then the judge makes a ruling. So in this case, the judge is saying the ruling will be delivered tomorrow. Yeah, there are 12 witnesses, As I said in court today, 12 of them are factual witnesses. 2 have been subpoenaed by the prosecution, and we're going to hear all of them.
The Nigerian Labour Congress says it will reject totally any attempt by the Nigerian government to increase the price of fuel. NLC General Secretary Peter Ozeson said government should review its policy on subsidy that led to the increase in the fuel pump price from 97 naira to 147 naira per litre, despite the untold hardship it brought on Nigerians. Ozeson was reacting to reports that the landing cost of petroleum has increased from 140 naira to 145, the same amount with the current fuel pump price in the country, which is feeling suspicion that the price of fuel may be reviewed upward soon. A standard gauge rail line now from Lagos to Ibadan is to commence next month, according to the Managing Director, Nigerian Railway Corporation, Fidet Okeria. The project, which was awarded to the China Civil Engineering Construction Company, is being jointly funded by the Nigerian and Chinese governments and will cost about $1.5 billion. That's around 458 billion naira. The new Lagos-Ibadan rail, spanning 156.65 kilometers, is a double line, which is the first phase of a new Lagos-Kano standard gauge line. The new line, when completed in 18 months, would coexist with the old narrow gauge rail line.
That was a very good business.
Yeah.
The furniture you brought was very perfect.
That's how we roll.
Because let me do you receipts.
Yeah. How much of it again?
1 million naira.
Okay, write 2.5.
The deal was for 1 million naira now.
Okay, write 3 million. I'll give you 500.
Oh no, I don't do business like that now. Yeah.
In that case, give me back my check. Let me go and look for vendor that understand business.
Take.
Your loss.
It is only for incorruptible customers. What are you talking?
Now get out.
What kind of this?
You will just die.
No,
you will die.
That is the door. Now get out from here.
Rubbish.
Look, my people, make una only add money for original invoice price. That's not corruption. Say no, not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Welcome back. The Chief Executive Officer of Nigerian Stock Exchange, Oscar Onyema, has advised the Nigerian government to sell the country's 4 refineries and the Ajaokuta Steel Complex to enhance their operations. Onyema, who made the call on the floor of the Lagos Stock Exchange, says the sale is necessary to stop the plans from draining the country's resources. The NSE boss says unbundling them would mitigate the excessive government spending on them and allow the funds realized to be deployed to other projects.
Revamp the refineries. We think that those refineries have outlived their days and they need to be sold because they drain on government coffers. We also believe that that is also true for a lot of other institutions, from the Ajaokuta Steel to other institutions. And so to the extent that we can reduce the drain on government funding, those funds can be better applied and those companies can be better run by the private sector. So that is just an example, but we do think generally that it is a very strong statement in the right direction. it's been articulated, and now we're looking for implementation. We intend to work very much in collaboration to support wherever we can.
Oil prices slipped on Monday, pressured by doubts that large oil producers will reduce production as promised and on expectations that U.S. production would increase again this year. Benchmark Brent crude oil was down 23 cents a barrel at $55.22, while U.S. crude fell 21 cents to $52.16. The Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries has agreed to cut production by 1.2 million barrels per day to 32.5 million barrels per day from January the 1st in an attempt to clear global oversupply that has cut prices for more than 2 years now. But global oil production remains high, and with inventories near record levels in many areas, investors doubt that OPEC and its allies can trim output enough to push up prices. Gambia's President-elect Adama Barrow has left the country for neighboring Senegal after West African leaders failed to persuade President Yahya Jammeh to step aside. Barrow, former real estate agent, won the December 1 election in the former British colony by a slim margin. Now, long-rolling Jammeh conceded defeat but then changed his mind. His decision has plunged the country into crisis, dimming hopes for democracy. Barrow, backed by the West and the West Africa, of course, and African Union, is due to be inaugurated on January the 19th, although Jammeh is seeking to block this now pending a Supreme Court ruling on his legal challenge of the poll results. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump says the German Chancellor Angela Merkel made a very catastrophic mistake by admitting more than 1 million migrants into her country. Trump made the remarks while giving details of his foreign policy goals in an interview with British and German newspapers. According to the BBC, he told the Times and Bild newspapers that his priority is to create fairer trade deals for the U.S. and have strong borders. He added that the United States has to address its trade deficit with the rest of the world, particularly with China. To sports now. Abia Warriors shocked defending champions Rangers 2-1 in one of the opening games of the 2017 Nigeria Professional Football League. The defending champions had taken an early first half lead but fell to a late goal to the Warriors. In other games, Remo United lost their debut league game 2-1 to Plateau United, while MFM defeated Niger Tornadoes 3-0. Shooting Stars beat Lobsters 1-0 in Ibadan, and Katsina United defeated Gombe United 2-1, while Rivers United beat El Kanemi Warriors 2-1, and Eimba defeated Sunshine Stars 1-0 in Calabar. The Chinese Football Association has announced a new rule which limits the amount of foreign players in each squad to 3. The Chinese Super League has come under heavy criticism from coaches of top European clubs and has been accused of tapping up players with the incentive of financial gains. Some of its big money transfers are Argentina's Carlos Tevez, Nigeria captain John Obi Mikel, the Brazilian duo of Oscar and Hawk, as well as former Chelsea and Newcastle striker Demba Ba. Chinese clubs have also been rumored to be interested in purchasing superstars such as reigning World Player of the Year Cristiano Ronaldo, Chelsea's Diego Costa, and Arsenal's Alexis Sanchez. Now, due to the influx of foreign players, China's FA has now announced a limit of foreign players in a bid to promote homegrown talents. Former world number 1 Roger Federer defeated German seed Jürgen Melzer 7-5, 3-6, 6-2, 6-2 in his first competitive game in 6 months. The Swiss has not played competitive tennis since last year's Wimbledon after taking time out to recuperate from a wrist injury. The 17-time Grand Slam winner and 17th seed at the Australian Open dropped the second set to his opponent but battled hard to win the third and fourth sets. He, however, faces tougher task ahead as he could be paired with world number 1 Andy Murray as early as the third round. Well, that's it for news now. For now, we thank you very much for watching. Continue to stay tuned to TV360.